This is Chicago's very own WGN Midday News.
All right, thanks, Steve. Well, the Chicago Marathon is less than a month away, so today we are getting some training advice from six-time Chicago half marathon winner Greg Costello. Greg, thanks for being with us today in the studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, you know what? Everybody talks about what to do before a run, but what about after a run? We've got a lot to cover today. First of all, tell me about this past weekend.
It was a great race. It was a little on the warm side, which you never really can predict the weather, but great turnout. We had over 20,000 runners, which is one of the biggest half marathons in the
And you came in first or second place?
I was actually second this year.
Yeah. Oh, second out of 20,000.
I was happy, though. Yeah, it was a good race. I've won the past 3 years, and this year I was second. So.
All right. Well, then you know all the good advice to give folks out there who are getting ready for the upcoming marathon, right? Let's talk about what to eat before marathon.
Okay. So I like to start the night before. It's important to have a high carbohydrate dinner. So pasta is a great example. The next morning, you want to have a nice, simple breakfast.
Okay.
Try to keep it to your regular routine. Don't try to switch things up the morning of a race because you want to make sure everything.
And when you say simple breakfast, you got some bananas here. So just one, two, or the whole bunch?
No, just one. If you're used to having bananas, have one. Oatmeal, a bagel, whatever you're used to.
Okay.
Just have it in moderate portions.
How soon before you run do you eat?
Probably about 3 hours before the race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then you want to make sure you're hydrating, both water and Gatorade. I like to mix between the two, just to make sure you have a little bit of both. Pre-race, I like to have maybe a Cliff Bar or some sort of performance energy bar. Gels are great 45 minutes before the race.
Oh, okay. What do the gels do? I've never heard of that before.
It's just a sugar blend, so it gives you a boost of energy. It's
just
high in
right before you run?
About 45 minutes before you run.
Okay. All righty. Okay, now let's talk about... okay, we'll get to this part.
And then, yeah, these are just some post-race snacks, high in protein. You can either have a protein bar, peanut butter is great, almonds, and milk. Chocolate milk is actually a great option for high protein, yes.
All right. Of course, running, one of the main things is you got to have a good pair of running shoes, right?
That's for sure.
So
that's
what are the models wearing here?
Well, the models are wearing the Nike Lunar Glide. It's important to stop by your local running store to get actually fit for a pair of running shoes because everybody does have different needs. The Lunar Glide kind of meets a little bit of a wider range of needs as far as cushioning and stability. So just making sure you're getting fit for the right shoes is important.
But that sometimes is as much of an expert as you are. That's something you recommend, though, huh?
Oh, for sure. I think, yeah, it's a shoe I run in, and it's a great shoe. It's new, too, so we've seen a lot of positive results.
Great. Now, they're doing some stretches. That's so important. I know that, and I'm not a runner, but you got to stretch before and after, right?
That is correct, especially before. Carla here is doing a quadricep stretch, where she's bringing her heel to her rear, which she's getting a nice stretch in the quad area. And as you can see on the ground, Shannon is doing a hamstring stretch with any sort of rope or towel will work, where she's getting a nice stretch in the back of her leg, making sure you're keeping your knees straight.
And these are good to do before and after the race?
Yes, they're all light stretches, so you want to make sure that, especially after the race, you're keeping it very light.
And that's the butterfly, right?
And that is the butterfly, the groin stretch, where you're pushing down on your knees lightly, so you get a nice stretch in the inner thighs.
All right, thanks so much, Greg, for coming out with some great advice for those of you getting ready for the upcoming marathon. More information on your screen about the Chicago Marathon, October 11th. All the event information can be found online at chicagomarathon.com. Steve?
Always a big event. Thanks, Val. Cook County Commissioners will vote today on a roughly